Okay, so in this video, it's going to be called Color Theory number 3. And that's what you're going to look for in the folder for when you do that assignment to turn it in. Okay, so in this one, now we're going to take those 12 colors that we've already worked with. Yellow, orange, carmine red, crimson red, processed red, magenta, mulberry, violet, true blue, grass green, olive green, and dark umber. So we have them labeled up here. We have them labeled down here. And then basically, yes, you're going to take yellow and mix it with all the colors. I've already kind of started a little bit. I'm not going to sit here and record myself filling in all these squares, but I will fill them in because then I will also attach the image of this in the assignment for you to see, so that you can also be able to see how to draw out this grid and how to label the colors, all 12 of them, and see how I am going over and layering these colors together just to see what they do. What happens when I mix yellow and violet? It's going to kind of create this weird color. And remember, we're doing this so that when we go to our, when we draw our vegetables and our fruit samples, and then we're going to actually, get into drawing another still life with colored pencils, and then another self-portrait with your colored pencils. You're going to have all of these color grids that you've done, and that'll help when you go to make your colors, because you've already kind of played around with these colors, so you already kind of know what they do to get comfortable with trying to find how they mix. That's why this part, it does take a little long. It's kind of tedious, but it's really important to do. All right, so now I'm done with the yellow. So then I just move down to orange. What happens when I mix orange and yellow together? And then I just keep going and see how I'm layering. I'm going to layer a little bit of orange back on top of that. And then this one's obviously just orange. And then this one's going to be orange and carmine red, it says up above. And so then I get my carmine red. And then I layer that a couple of times. And then I move on. And then you just keep going, carmine red with everything, crimson red with everything, processed red, and so on with everything. I'll go ahead and finish mine, and then I'll bring it back here in a second. Okay, so now I'm at the very bottom. And I'm using my raw umber. And then see again, I add a layer, and then I'm in my carmine red column, carmine red. And then I go back over it again with my raw umber. And I'm not pressing hard. I still want to be able to see that color, that I'm mixing with. I never want to press hard. I'm just kind of lightly layering it and mixing these colors together, keeping my strokes close together. Now I'm going to move to processed red, which hopefully by now you've discovered processed red is actually very pink. It's not much red at all. I mean, it is, but it's very pink. So I'm mixing that together. And then I add magenta. So here's my raw umber that I put down first. And then magenta, mix that in. A little raw umber back on top. And now I go to mulberry. See how you just need a little bit. You don't need to fill the squares. I mean, you can if you want. It just takes even more time. Just a little bit. And there's my mulberry. Mix some more raw umber on it. And this works really well if you have, make sure your pencils are always sharpened really nice. If they start to get dull, you definitely want to sharpen them because it's hard to work when they're dull. It's the same even with charcoal pencils. You can't really work with dull pencils. There's my violet. Now my true blue. So raw umber first, true blue. And so remember, we're doing this because when we do all of our little mini projects in colored pencil, we want to come back to these color theory practices to help us be like, oh, I need such and such color. Or how do I make this or that? Well, this is going to help us because we've already kind of played around with mixing these colors to see what they do. It's really important. You know, if you ever watercolored, you would want to do something like this. If you ever do oil paint, you would want to do something like this. You know, it's just really good practice. I'm almost there at my raw umber, olive green. And then, of course, lastly, it's, why was I saying raw umber? It's dark umber. Sorry, guys. Dark umber and dark umber. So that's, I just stick with that square or that same color. And there's my dark umber. And there you go. All 12 colors mixed with each other a couple of times. And that is color theory number 3 assignment.